the stuff that we say behind the scenes that no one else can listen to.
Right.
What's going on? What's going on?
Howdy, howdy. I am exhausted.
You
I've
make
been moving appliances all day.
oh, you're making me dizzy with your follow me cam. Mine doesn't do that.
You just bought a new lens for your camera.
Yeah. So yep, new
Now you're
lens
all
up here.
shiny.
I know it's a little bit. I'm not sure. I think it's a little bit too bright. It's looking a little bit over compensated with the light, but that's okay. I'll adjust that at some point.
Yeah, with the camera
So
away.
we're talking about this is part two of the build the perfect ham Radio Shack. Last week we spoke about power supplies and power distribution. We also spoke a little bit about the workbench and the work area and the ham shack area where to put your radios, because you've got your USPS boxes.
I do.
So, and then I've got a nice little laid out bench, and either one, works for projects.
Well, yeah, I mean, all of my projects fit in a little box, and if they don't, then I, don't do them.
Then they're too big.
I just protest.
Yeah. Well, today we're talking about today's part two. We're talking about which radio. So we jumped quite a fair bit because there's a lot that we could have discussed in between. We could have discussed feed lines, antennas, microphones. What else was there? There was something else that you had last week that before you even got to the radio.
All kinds of stuff. Like how high do you want the desk? I'm actually going to have, I'm not sure, but I think I'm going to have two different heights. I'm going to have like my desk that I can sit at and operate at, then I'm going to have a bench that's taller so I can stand and do some work. But it depends. I got to be in the space because I have a small ceiling. I have a short ceiling, so I might not be comfortable standing up.
No, and you're a tall bloke, so you want to make sure that you fit under that ceiling.
Right.
So radios is what we're looking at today, because I was talking to you, and specifically you had. Well, so first of all, if you're in the chat, drop in what your dream radio is or what your preferred radio is.
And don't be afraid to say whatever your favorite radio is, and we won't be afraid to tell you that it's a bad idea.
Because our opinion matters, right?
Right.
So we'll do that. And your specific question though, was about two radios, or about a radio in particular. Well, no, you had two radios that you weren't quite sure about because they are pretty much identical or pretty close.
Yeah. The 710 AESS and the 710 Field. If I bought the 710 Field and went to the dollar store and bought a $5 speaker, because nothing at the dollar store costs $1,
no,
would I then have the AESS ability, or is it like factory neutered and you can never get it back?
Or is it inherent in the speaker, the special speaker that comes with the radio, right?
Right. I don't.
Can you buy that?
That's the case.
Can you buy that speaker separately?
I don't know. I don't particularly like that speaker, but that's just
seen it. But yeah, I don't have any experience with it.
It's like this big, and it's the full depth of the radio.
Well, I've only got. Have you haven't listened to the FTM 500, have you, with the speaker on the front?
Oh yeah, I think it sounds good.
That's got the AESS as well, right?
Yep, there's definitely something going on with that technology. I get it. It's 1990s surround sound, stereo, fake 3D surround sound.
And hey, it's good in a mobile environment because having the speaker right there is really good.
Yeah, the 6-watt speaker right in the front without having to wire it from the trunk back to the front of the car.
If anyone has any experience with that radio and the AESS, then let us know. But yeah, that's an interesting question. Matthew says the Yaesu DX101. Right. We were talking about this like just before we went live, because we were talking about what radio in 2024 should you get for the money, and what.
Yeah, because people in the chat are saying
what
get
feature
the
should it
991A. When was that thing invented? When dinosaurs still roamed the earth?
Hey, it's a good radio, but it's quite dated now.
A great radio if they only had discontinued making it 20 years ago.
Michael's got all of the major Yaesu HF radios.
And it's funny because I love old Yaesu radios. I've got more Yaesu radios than any other radio, and I just think that they're interesting, they're charming. It's like getting an old like Mac Classic or a Macintosh SE from the 90s. It's like this is a pretty cool little thing. But the fact that they still sell the 991A brand new today it just bugs me. It bends my antenna.
Joe's also DX101MP as well. So so the 991, so let's bring that up for those who are not familiar with this model. Where are we going to go?
You have the 991 in the thumbnail, not even the 991A. Like, at least Yaesu had the common decency to discontinue the 991. Nothing.
Yeah, but see, there's a problem with that too. So I had this radio. I didn't have the A version. I had the other version, just the 991.
Well, scroll down and look at when it was first made.
I owned this in, when was this made? 2016 to now. I probably bought this in I had this in 2018 maybe. 2018 I bought this new. So it was 2 years old. It came with, I bought this actually, I had the choice of this or a 7300, and I decided on this because it had all bands, all modes, right? So I could do, this is a shack in the box. So you've got HF all the way through to 70 centimeters. And I thought, oh, cool, it's got this waterfall. The 991, so get rid of the A version, does not have a scrollable waterfall. It does not have a scrollable waterfall. So this is static. You have to press this sweep button to get a sweep of the waterfall. And when you get the sweep of the waterfall, you get this, this sort of layout. And like, to be honest, this is probably one of the earlier implementations of Yaesu's, it's not the 3D waterfall. It's not it doesn't look like what they've got now, which is pretty good. And it was frustrating because you'd have to press sweep. So what they did was they come out with the A version.
What's funny? The radio doesn't look that good in person. The screen does not look that good.
I haven't finished giving the facts. We can't badmouth it just yet. And then they come out with the A version, which was a scrollable waterfall, and it's like, oh, cool. That made it a little bit easier and a little bit better to find signals. But I never found the waterfall easy to use. I didn't find it like a game-changing thing. And then I moved to the 7300. And that had a better waterfall for my needs. And, of course, the new Yaesus have a better waterfall now too, I think. But, yeah, it's an old radio, and I don't know. Lots of people have this radio and they say that it's awesome, but I think I probably agree with you. If you're buying your first radio and you want to get it secondhand and you're not worried about all the bells and whistles in 2024, then a 991's going to do what you want it to do, right? But it's just, I am surprised that they haven't had a successor to this yet,
right?
Considering it's now 8 years old.
Also, I'm an equal opportunity offender. I no longer like the 7300.
Hold on, where's the? Well, that's a shocker.
It's a nice radio, tell. But it's outdated. It needs to be retired. They need to step up their game. Yaesu has come out with the FTDX10 and the FT710, and ICOM has done not.
Is that a word? ICOM has done not.
Not.
Michael says that there is
a not.
Oh, not. Michael says that there is a.
But
it says there's a teardown of the ASS speaker. Search YouTube.
So it's probably just a speaker in a box. Little teeny tiny speaker in a great big long box.
James is talking about 7610s or a few flex radios. Flex radios are a different beast altogether, aren't they? Because they're kind of like, they can be, the hardware, they come out with that new flex at Hamvention, but they can refine the software, right? Because they're pretty much all software driven, those things.
Right. So 45's asking me about the 7100. The 7100 is interesting because nobody makes a mobile radio as nice as the 7100. and that's a different thing. The 7100 is dated for sure. I would love to have a 7105 as an example.
So speaking of dated radios, this bad boy, you've got this, don't you?
I do, and it's broken.
See, they used to make ICOM had a time, and it was all around about this, or a couple of years before this. When was this? 2013 to 2019. It was probably just slightly before then. Remember when they came out with they had this large range of HF mobile radios. So they had the 706, they had the 7000, and then they had the 7100.
And they were all of them in production at the same time?
I don't think this one, or maybe. So when's this? 2013. 2013, the IC 7000, which was the previous model, which had a color screen. So they went from the color screen back to the black and white screen.
Well, this one had a color screen and it had composite TV out.
It did.
And it could receive TV, I believe, and then they wouldn't allow it in the US.
Well, and then they went and switched off analog television here.
Right.
2005 to 2014. And I reckon the 706 did not get to 2013. So those two overlapped, but
Jack is correct. The 7100 looks weird until you see it in person. The 7100 makes perfect sense inside of a car. And it has a lot of really cool features. I think it is currently the most advanced mobile radio you can get.
But that is what some people do, though, is they buy a mobile radio and use it in the shack. Well, I did it as well. I had an 857. I had my VHF UHF mobile was my base radio.
Hold on. Stop. Jeff is asking a question. Jeff, there is no criteria. None. You're on the wrong. This is ham radio nonsense. This is not ham radio fact sense. This is not ham radio makes sense. This is ham radio nonsense. Is the name of this show.
But yes, portable radios. What's the FT891 like?
FT891. Yep, I just sold mine.
Oh, so it was good then.
It was good, yeah. I sold it because it's not a forever radio, you know. It's okay.
That's only HF, right? And that's a current model.
Yeah.
That's a current model.
Yeah, it's a good radio. It's got fantastic noise reduction. No tuner. It'll use the ATAS, so it'll tune the ATAS. It'll run the FC50 tuner externally, but the FC50 is like a 5-to-1 compared to like an LDG, which is like a 10-to-1.
Look, I have to agree with Jack. The 7100 does look a little bit weird with the shaped, the head where it's like a 45, and then it was. Yeah,
it makes sense.
I used it for about 5 hours there and back.
5 hours or so. Yeah.
We talked via the same repeater into the
we passed the mic back and forth to each other and talked to each other in the car
because there was no one to talk to on the repeater, so we just spoke to each other, but via the repeater.
Yeah.
Don't know what repeater it was, but who cares?
Local, go for it.
Jim's here. Hey, Jim. Just got a FT891 last week. Yet to turn it on. I had that problem with the FT5, which is now sitting over on the shelf. And I've used it once.
Well, yeah, I've used a stream 3 weeks ago.
I've used it once, so I need to probably look at moving that on, possibly. Someone. My dream radio is the IC9700. Let us know because I've had a lot of people that have been commenting because I did a video recently on the 7610 and the versus the 7300, kind of like a follow-up few months of using it type of video. And a lot of people were saying in the comments that they want a 9700. So let me know, Chance, what you want to use it for. Do you want to use it for weak signal, satellites, Earth, Moon, Earth? Probably not the radio to just be talking on repeaters with. That's probably a little bit overkill for that radio.
Yeah.
But let us know anyway what you're interested in. Kim's got the Kenwood. We haven't even spoken about Kenwood 480 HX. That's an older Kenwood, isn't it?
Is that the 6 meters? Wow.
Is that the That's the yellow screen one, I think. Yes, it is. This one. Boom. Ken would love their buttons on the front, don't they?
Well, a lot of people want them, you know.
This is it doesn't say
Ooh,
when it was
two fans.
discontinued, but
That's serious.
dual fan.
And then it has the HF connectors that are outside of the radio.
And
that's an all band all mode radio. That's nice.
Is this double power?
Triple power.
Well, yeah, I mean, wow. 200 watts in a little box like that's pretty cool, though.
So Sandy's asking when I'm building my new shack. Yeah. Sandy's asking when I'm building my new shack. We're getting tires on the new shack right now. And once the tires are done and we get some housekeeping done here in this space, then I can start working on building out the new shack. And it's I'll do videos on it.
45 says, what's the first thing people do with a non-7100 mobile radio tilted up? Well, maybe they should just build tiltable heads in mobile radios. That would make sense, wouldn't it?
So they do that in the FTM 500.
You can tilt that up and down?
Mm-hmm.
Is that only on the body of the radio, or when it's off the body you can tilt it up and down?
I think the whole part that does the tilting is the part that detaches from the radio.
Okay. Jim can tell us. Otherwise you can get a is it Lido or Lido? Lido mount.
Lido
which
mount,
can Prep Ham Poll. I wonder if in 2 months how many people say ICOM X60 is my dream radio. It all depends on what it is. We don't really know. We kind of have to wait till August, I think, till the Tokyo Ham Fair, and I think we'll be don't use a 9700 with a hotspot. That is way too much. I want to work 2 meters SSB and satellites with it. Oh, sweet. Yeah, well, awesome. It'll work very well for that. The satellite modes, you can set it up with Doppler tracking and automatically track the satellites with frequency. And 2 meters SSB, it works well for that too. 100 watts. So, and Sandy's been watching your Living for a Living videos. What? Tell everyone about your Living for a Living videos, and I'll get a link to your channel for that.
Living for a Living RV is the handle for it. Yeah. So this year we have upgraded. We bought a bigger camper. We went from a 23-foot to a 36-foot model. The 36-foot model has a bunkhouse in the front. And my last video, I did a tour. And after I did the tour video and got that out, I started tearing the bunkhouse apart. And then I realized I didn't bring one of the tools that I need to finish the job. So it's like 97% completed. And once I get the other 3%, I can release that video. And then we can start building out the ham shack that we're talking about here. But I need workspace. I need a workbench in order to actually do stuff on. So that's going to be step one. It's probably going to be like stick a folding table in the front of the trailer and put a radio on it. You would be surprised how hard it is to do ham radio stuff without an actual workbench.
Yeah, I know. How many people have worked on the floor doing, soldering or putting? Yeah, exactly. Peter VK3YE does it all the time. But he's I guess used to it. He'd probably feel very very weird having a workbench to work off of. So the other one is his 817. His 817's probably got more sand in it than anyone else's. So
more sand than contacts. Yeah.
If there's any small radio that you want to get, then and know that it'll survive, then you can get their get the
that thing was IP67 rated before it's IP6X rated instead of IPX6 rated.
So
he actually took it apart. There's like no sand in it.
Matthew says, when is Kenwood coming out with a new mobile radio? Well, they said that it was supposed to be happening, but who knows how long that could actually take. I guess with Kenwood, we probably should just be grateful that they're actually doing anything with ham radio. So
Thank you for coming back.
Yeah, well, they make good stuff. I mean, I've got this Kenwood this Kenwood dual bander here. Oh, this is the head of it. But you know, they make some good stuff.
That's the
and
710.
It's reliable as well. This is the 710. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's reliable enough that they decided to put it on the International Space Station, right? So,
You're right.
And yeah, Jim, yeah, and I like the audio that that the Kenwoods have as well. Kenwood's always been good for audio.
Mm-hmm.
Don's always going on about I think that's a Codan he's talking about, his Australian radio. Now for that's right. We're going to talk about 817 and portable radios. What about using something like a 705 in the shack as your base radio?
That's the actual reason why I got rid of the 7300. I have the 705 and I have a 100-watt amp.
So you don't need it.
So,
because the 705 does everything that a 7300 does, like literally everything except the power.
Right.
And a tuner, no tuner.
Yeah.
But you've got a tuner, right?
In the amp,
as well.
There's a tuner. Yep.
Yeah.
And then I also have external tuners.
Which we must have woken up Rob. Rob loves his Kenwoods as well.
Yep.
705 is a bass. No. 705 needs a tuner. Well, that's why we caveated what we just said, that
right.
It does everything if you've got that. I don't know about you. Have you found that? So when I bought my 705, I actually thought about it and thought, am I actually going to use this? Like, am I going to use it enough to actually justify buying it? Because the price was pretty expensive. And now I use it for all sorts of things. Like I use it for testing antennas. I use it for the weak signal stuff, for driving transverters. I use it for HF, for portable, for POTA, for SOTA. 2 meters SOTA as well, 70 centimeters SOTA. I use it for, what else do I use it for?
Well, so that's the dilemma that I run into is I don't keep an activity long enough to get good at a single radio. So I wind up switching radios a lot.
Well, see, for instance, I went to fix a repeater the other day, and because it's a high RF site, I can't plug in my MFJ because my MFJ just goes pew, and the needles just go off to the right because it just gets overloaded. So I can bring my big heavy test set where I can measure SWR. I can bring my nano VNA as well. But all I did was I just brought the 705, plugged the 705 in, checked the SWR because it's only on one frequency, checked the SWR, tried to make a simplex contact because I wanted to test the antenna, made the simplex contact with 5 watts. And then I found that there was some noise that I couldn't track down, so I plugged in an antenna into the 705 and went for a walk and tried to find the interference. So even that, it decided it's just stuff like that. It's really handy to have.
My man Clinton's got an FT450 in the car. That is a beast.
You've had one of those, haven't you?
Yeah, it's in our club shack. I like the 450. It's a very good starter radio, but it's a very, like, you think Yaesu menus are hard in the 891. Like, there's no menu in the 450. It's all buttons, and the buttons are all like 17 functions each. It's crazy. And I'm exaggerating.
Jim says that the 705 confuses him. Designed to get active. No tuner, crappy, but well, it does come with a tuner. Sorry, it doesn't come with a tuner. You have to buy a tuner. What's that? The AH705, which is pretty hell expensive as well.
It's like bigger than the 705 though, too.
But apparently though, with that, you can literally tune up anything, because I saw someone tune up what did they tune up? A wet noodle, I think, with it, and it worked, and they made a contact. Because someone says, "Oh, you can work anyone off a wet noodle." So yeah, interesting. Thank you, Don. I'm very highlighted. I'm personally happy with my feature-rich Australian radio. Oh, Apache Labs. Okay, I didn't know that Apache Labs was Australian. That's probably shocking to people.
Yeah. Chris is asking, is there a replacement 817 which will include C4FM? Not currently.
Not Australian. Yeah, I don't know much about Apache Labs, to be quite honest, Don. I don't know. I thought that they were overseas. I'm just having a look now. Why does it say here India? There's an Apache Labs in Victoria, so I don't know. You can fill me in. I thought you meant Codan because Codan's an Australian HF band. Thank you for the $10 super chat, though. Thank you very much. Now we have. I was looking at another.
The whole like camera moving thing doesn't make sense when I'm also just playing white.
Do it again. It looks like you're in a rave, with one of those cameras following you. Okay, Andy. I use the FT DX10 for everything, but it's heavy. Did you were wondering because the DX10? Do you get the DX10 or do you get the 710?
It's a hard decision.
The audio? Do you get the
The 710 has the AESS and the DX10 has the roofing filter. Those are the two major differences between the two radios.
Chris asked an interesting question. Is there a replacement for the 817 which will include C4 FM? Well, there isn't one at the moment, but you'd think that they've just discontinued the 818. So you'd think that there might be something because they don't really have a competitor to the 705. It was the 818, which was like literally the same radio slapped with a 818 sticker on the front as the 817.
So there was a problem with
battery.
The 817's finals. They
and a slightly bigger battery, I think. So, yeah. Because I think I'm trying to remember now, the 817, you could put like double A's in the bottom or something, or you could put, it had like a battery pack.
You can get the double A tray, or you can get the regular battery pack from WinCamp. Yeah, it's a nice, I have one. I like it. I want to use it more, but I've got so much other stuff that I'm playing with.
I mean, if I was a betting man, I'd probably say that they would be working on bringing out a replacement at some point pretty soon. You'd think so anyway.
Rob, it is a camera artifact that is doing the glossy wall trick. The walls are, they're a little shiny. I forget what they call it. There's a semi-gloss, I think is what they call it, because the semi-gloss is the stuff that's cleanable. The flat paint you can't really clean, and the high gloss is just crazy.
There you go.
Melbourne, Melbourne,
Victoria. Very good. If you have the money, Bryant says get the DX10. So,
well, I mean, the price isn't even that different. It's one of those buy once, try once thoughts.
Well, yeah. John's ears are burning. Somebody's speculating on Yaesu somewhere on YouTube.
Right.
I mean, it's just one of those things. If you discontinue a radio, you got to expect that there's going to be something that's going to come out and replace it. Jim, thank you for the $10 super chat. N5 SKT causes people to buy the radio. He's the reason I got a flex. See, I've been accused of that as well, of making people buy radios. Like, Jim blamed me for getting him to buy a 9700, right? Well, at least I think so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
This camera following ruins the fact that I don't have any rhythm. You can now tell I don't have any.
Oh, that ruins the fact that you've got no rhythm.
Right.
Oh, I'm not entirely sure that that's the problem. Two friends of mine have the DX10 and love them. I don't know anyone that owns a DX10. I'm trying to think.
Nope.
No, I don't know anyone that owns a DX10. So let's go back to the 7300 and go through the stuff that you said, Teo, that you don't like about it, because I've been singing its praises for a long time.
The 7300.
So yes.
Well, I like it, but in 2024, the radio to buy would not be the 7300. It was made in I think it was brand new in 2016. And for the same amount of money, you can get either the 710 or the FTDX10. And both of those radios are technologically superior to the 7300.
Better receivers in them.
Yeah, better receivers, better waterfalls, video output, even though it's still dated.
Menu system is a problem, but you can overcome those, I guess.
Well, you
Um,
don't really use them that much.
the menus.
Yeah, I mean, like a
Well,
lot of the menu stuff is set it and forget it kind of stuff.
true. What about
The
the?
7300 is extremely user friendly.
I personally don't like the 3D waterfall, but you can turn that off. You can just
Yes.
have a 2D waterfall. Um, what about remote? Does the DX10, what remote stuff does that work with?
I don't know. Good question.
See, this is
I
the
mean,
other thing is
there's
like,
Win4
so,
Yaesu.
well, people are like, oh, just use Ham Radio Deluxe or something. And I'm like, Ham Radio Deluxe is a pretty antique
I
like
don't
piece of
actually remote
software.
control my radio, so it doesn't really matter to me.
Well, I do occasionally, and I found that using the iPad software, the SDR control for the ICOM stuff is really user friendly. That's good.
It works
Um,
great if you are not in the same room, which is like the whole definition, the whole reason of having it. But if you're in the same room, you
yes,
can feel the lag.
yeah. Um, yeah, definitely. The latency and the lag is a problem.
But
The ICOM,
it's only because you're in the room with the radio. If you're not, then you there's nothing to compare it to, so you don't even know it.
I've never tried the Win for ICOMs. I've only used the RS2BA1 software, and
Which
I mean,
sucks.
well,
The software's good.
yeah.
The installation is like update your stuff, ICOM. Come on.
Yeah. The software's like I've had no problems with the software, and it's been like I used it on a 4G connection when I was in the middle of nowhere to make a contact using my 9700 record contact. So I guess I have to sing its praises with that. But yeah, I can see where it falls down. Definitely, it does need a little bit of a. It's got a real uh, feel to how the radios.
Yeah.
It's got like the buttons and everything. It's like an ICOM type of feel with the radio that you're operating it off. If you know what I mean.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, hold on. First off, Rob gifted 10 memberships, and Don is upset
But
because Rob gifted himself a membership.
well, hang on a minute. We need to get to Jody. Jody's given us $12 Canadian, and we won't talk about the $12. We won't talk about the OVF. Don't mention the OVF
I have not had a problem
to
with
Don.
it, right?
I can say that I have had the OVF bug on my
Excuse me.
7300. I haven't had it on my 7610 though. My 7610 doesn't have the OVF bug. Bryant agrees with you. He says way too old. So thank you, Rob, for the gifted 10 memberships, even though you did give one to yourself, apparently. So thanks, Rob. Jim says the OC radios are sketchy on remote.
Alpha
Thanks,
Foxtrot.
Jim. Um,
Good morning, Rolly.
sorry, I'm still catching up with the chat. Did you go through everyone who got a membership?
I did not. Oh, look at you restreaming the stream.
Oh no, I'm done this again. Whoop,
You're double
there we
streamer.
go. So Rob, thank you. Rob was gifted Digital Rancher was gifted a membership by Digital Rancher. Sondre Ryson, Danny. Apologies if I don't pronounce your name correctly. Danny Benton, Carl, VK3KRL, Mike Likes Tacos, Corey N1XWS, Tim B. I think that was all of them. At least that's all of them listed here. Oh, and Ted W. And Prep Ham Paul. So thank you, Rob.
Nice.
Uh,
Congratulations.
RSBA one is a crappy 1999 interface. Isn't that a thing though with most
Ham radio in general?
software?
Yeah.
Yeah, with most software. Did you notice though? I don't know if you saw in the last couple of days, All Star Link version 3 now comes with a sexy GUI.
I did not.
Which was one of the things I had a laugh about was rather than the old there's nothing wrong with the Linux menus, but once the page loads, slow internet, this is what you get. You get something like this. Look,
It's like a streaming platform.
it does. Looks
Can
like
you
a
zoom in on the
gaming
picture?
platform. So you got your web admin portal, your node links for Allmon, your All-Star Link manual.
Somebody found the AI button. Those
Someone
are all
did
AI
find the
generated
AI
images.
button. So I haven't tried All-Star Link 3 yet. I think was it Freddie Mac in the chat did a video on it. So
Yeah.
what's no? Oh, go back. No, that's the menu. Do we have photos of the menu? No, we don't. So the guide has no pictures. Excellent. Oh, Raspberry Pi pictures. Cool. There we go. So you can. Oh, here we go. This is what I was looking for. This is the Web UI stuff.
The WebUI?
Which kind of is just exactly the same. It just opens up your terminal windows and all that sort of thing. So, and your menus.
Jody,
like
I don't know about Shack monitors on ARMS. I would need to buy monitors again.
I was looking at monitor arms as well, because that is one of the things that I have when in here is trying to adjust your monitor so that you get your radio in here, and especially for us, you got your camera and the microphone. Like this microphone is ridiculous of where it actually sits in this room, and I need to rejig it all.
So Ziggle's asking ASL question mark, and that's a AOL Instant Messenger thing where he's asking what your age, sex, and location is. I think ASL stands for All Star Link in this case, though.
Well, it also stands for was it a sign language?
American Sign Language. Yep.
Americans. Well, yeah. OVF is icon. Joseph says, do you think the X60 is going to be a replacement to the 7300? No, I don't think so. The 7300 is still in production. So I think that the X60 is going to be something like, what was the big radio? The 7851 that was discontinued. It's probably going to be a 7860, which is going to be well outside the realms of most of our budgets.
What's it going to be, like $5,000, or is it going to be 25
grand? More than that, probably like 10.
Yeah.
The 7610
I can't use
still
a radio that much. That's not my jam in ham radio.
Yeah, the you have a ceiling, don't you, of how much you can spend and how much you're going to use it.
Well, like you got the 7610. I don't think I'm that much of a ham that I would use a 7610. I've played with one before, but I just don't see myself making one. Buying one.
My operating is going to be different from your operating, right? So if someone says to you, no, you shouldn't buy that radio because, I don't use it for this, but you might necessarily not have the same requirements as them. Because, this thing does a whole heap of stuff that I haven't even looked at. It does, even the waterfall. I get a third receiver in it, but I haven't even looked at it yet.
Right.
Which I need to do. Still scrolling through the chat. So yeah, the building the perfect shack when it comes to radio is not always the easiest one. It's
you have to figure out what you're going to do. Yeah, I mean, so like for me, the external display is perfect because I would like to do some more live streaming, but I don't even have an HF radio set up right now. I have to keep taking it up when the guy comes by to cut the grass, which is something I have to do when I'm on the road camping too. But I have to do that anyways. That's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, well, I mean, the 7610. Let me do this because I can do this now. This is a new thing that I've been able to do. Boom. The 7610s has a couple of dual functions for me. It's mainly at the moment it's 6 meters and monitoring 6 meters FT8 pretty much all the time. And then the other side, even though it's on FM at the moment, usually that sits on HF, and and then I can listen on one all the time and use the other for just normal operation, which is good.
Right.
Sorry, I got distracted by Don's question. Why is Hermes Light the best radio, dollar for dollar? Because Slappo Matt says, hard to beat the power to price ratio of a Hermes Light 2, although not an ideal first radio. I've never had a Hermes Light. Have you? Don't think
I
you
have
have either.
not.
You
It's on
have?
my list of
What do you
radios
think?
to get, and I think it's actually a pretty neat radio for
All
what you
right.
get, but not a lot of power out, and I'm not afraid of that. That doesn't bother me. Unlike some hams who live stream on YouTube.
Ghost Man, which radio? As always, it depends.
Right. And the blank is asking about the
Oops,
G90, and
sorry.
I think the G90 is actually like hands down the best radio bang for the buck that you can get because for $400 it does like everything HF. Doesn't do any of it good, but it does everything HF, and it's a fantastic. It's the we've always called it the Baofeng of HF radios. So I like mine. I use it a lot.
Well, it's like a poor man's 705, but when I say a poor man's 705, it's a good poor man's 705.
Right.
Because I don't know anyone who has owned a G90 and says that they don't think it's a good thing for the money that they spent on it. The X6100 and the X6200, on the other hand, are different kettles of fish, right?
Right.
Because you've been using the X6200, and you'd probably prefer the 6100 over that.
Well, the
I
6100 has
would
had
say.
like 2 years worth of updates and development and fixes and solutions, and the 6200 hasn't.
Yeah. Yep. What about the G90 versus the 6100?
Mm, the G90's got more power.
You got to have more power.
Yeah, 20 watts out versus 10. It actually
Mm.
that's a difference that's you can feel it.
Does the 6100 have a tuner in it?
It does. There's a pretty good tuner in it. The 6200
So you
has a
got two
tuner in it.
tuners. Yep.
Yeah. 6100 is lower power, bigger screen, the same SDR, but a different user experience on the front end.
Do
It's a
you
Linux
have
computer with a radio.
a what's the ATU in it? Like, what can you tune?
I think it's a 10-to-1.
10 to 1? I'm just trying to see it. I can't see it here in the specs. I'm sure someone in the chat will know. But
I think they tell you
yeah,
in ohms what it can tune, not in X to 1, like 3-to-1, 5-to-1, 10-to-1.
some people will buy a G90 for their first radio in the shack.
Hmm.
I mean, that's something that you would say is good.
I like it, yeah. I think it's a good way to. So the thing is that like the price point and the power output when you so if you were to start off today and you were to buy a 705 and it was your very first HF radio, you would be extremely frustrated for a variety of reasons that
Mm.
would not frustrate you at all 4 or 5 years into being a ham. Like there's a learning curve to doing QRP. There's a learning
Yeah.
curve to operating a radio without a tuner, and so on and so on and so on. And all of that stuff doesn't exist in the G90. The G90 has enough power that you're not missing out on too many contacts. It's got a built-in tuner. It's very affordable. It's cheap.
Slappo Matt says the G90 will tune a dead short. And now we've got deals happening now in the chat with swapping of radios. Just as a disclaimer, we've got nothing to do with any of these deals that are happening at the moment in the chat. So proceed at
No,
your
no,
own
I
risk.
do. I'm going to tell you that Jody will offer free international shipping. You'll take advantage of our comments. We're going to give it right back to you. I'm teasing anyway. You probably won't. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Full Metal bought a 705 as my first radio, and as well as my THD 75 as the first HT.
Yeah.
Buy one, cry once, definitely.
So
there.
my first HF radio was the FT891, and I gotta say, I enjoyed operating the Kenwood 570 better because it had the tuner built in. The interface made a little bit more sense. It was a little bit easier to use than the 891. The 891 is fine once you learn all the things that it means in all of its menus, but if you don't know those things, they can be a little daunting.
So Don says there are less expensive amps for the G90 that work really well, but I do like the Xiegu amp. Ghostman, my AH705 will tune my wrought iron table. Let us know in the chat what your tuner will tune. Right. What's the most ridiculous thing? This could go really badly and very sideways very quickly. But what's the most ridiculous thing that it is tuned?
I need to tune up my gutters because the lawnmower man is not going to hit my gutters. So JMac is saying that he uses the XBA 125B and the CE19. It will work with the DE19, Delta Echo 19, and it will also work with just a cable from the G90 to the amplifier.
So what's the I love this YouTube name. What's the frequency? Metal barn door. Rolly has tuned up 6-inch nails on 10 meters.
He's confusing measurements. Yeah, I'm playing with the Shack tools. So,
yeah, what's going on there? You look like you're ready for some sort of surgery.
You have a little something stuck inside your nostril.
No, I'm not going to even try that. John, I'm legit going to try tuning the rabbit wire on my split rail fence with my X6100. Slappo Matt says 100% try tuning your gutters with the G90. I bet it works. Didn't Josh tuned up, Josh from Ham Radio Crash Course tuned up his lawn chairs.
Yep.
And then didn't he hook them up to the gutters or hook them up to the roof or something?
Yep.
So should start that series. He started that. Well, he had a series of, what is it? Will it tune or something? Or
yep.
Will it tune? And
Will it antenna.
Will it antenna? That's it. And tuned up all sorts of things. Jeff says when you lose in ham court, Teo comes after you with those.
Dog Boy AA1, Dog Booyah. Get the DE19. It's better. The DigiRig is also fantastic for that. And then I did a video on how to do an FT891 with no special details.
I think we'll just leave that one. We don't need to know all of the details, Joe.
I want to say it was Ian who did the D-cup antenna.
Oh, yeah.
And he tuned the underwires, and he made a D-cup Yagi. It was
Yes.
a fantastic April Fool's video. I think he actually did the work, and it did work. But he did it for April Fool's.
It was pretty funny. And it was all about propagation as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Delta Echo 19, DE19 for the Xiegu radios, and it works with the 5105, the G90, the G106, and it's a sound card amp interface, cat control to USB-C device. It's fantastic.
My DigiRig is out of the box, but it's not been plugged in.
How long did it take you to get it out of the box?
No, it didn't take very long to get it out of the box. I just haven't had anything to interface it to. So, because all of my radios have a USB sound card in them. And I'm trying to remember why. I think I bought this for, what did I buy this for? I think I bought this for one of the 10-meter radios. I think the Anytone radio. To see if it'll do FT8.
I don't know if it's Booyah or Dog Boy AA1. I'm not sure which one it is, but either one is cool. I like both of them. If you go to any one of my modern videos, I think, Hayden, do you have a Radiodity discount code?
I do. It is in the description below.
In the description below, you can save $15 by using Hayden's discount code.
Or Teo's discount code, depending on which...
it's your stream.
Which website.
But if you like me better, if I'm the better looking ham out of the two of us...
Right.
Choose mine.
So I just posted a link in the chat for the $15 off at Radiodity. If you use that one, then that is my link, and I'll post another one. This one that's coming through now, I guarantee you that's TO's one. Okay, so you can use that one too.
Nice.
Jody says if you used that, you'd have to do your exposure calculations in more
The
ways than
D-cup
one.
antenna.
Oh dear. Someone tuned a quarter wave 2 meter HT whip with a G90 and it worked.
I'm older.
K4 OGO tuned up an abandoned commercial tower with the G90 and tuned it. Actually, I know someone that tuned up an old AM tower as well on 160 meters, and like, you think that antennas are good. Wait till you get to tune up a full size AM tower. Like that's next level on 160.
Any software for Android that, yes, W4TRI, FT8CN.
Which,
you have to
hold
sideload
on,
it.
which dubious ham award are you talking about, 45? And I think I know which one you're referring to. Sorry, what were you saying?
W4TRI was asking about Android software for the DE19 and the G90, and I said FT8CN, FT8 Charlie November is a Android app that will do that.
Darren used a DigiRig on an RT95 to effortlessly turn an iGate into an iGate DigiPeter. Oh, okay. So
I'm doing it the hard way.
You are doing it the hard way. I have a RT95. You blew yours up. I don't want to blow mine up.
My fault.
You
did.
Did.
That's being a ham. It's all fixed. It's sitting on the shelf. I gotta get back into the project.
I could interface mine up. I'm not sure what I do. I've got another DigiPeter here, and I've got options for an iGate, which I haven't set up yet. I was going to use one of these bad boys. Focus. An AIOC board, and just use an HT as an iGate, but I haven't done that yet.
I wonder if Woad Android software easily works with the G90. I don't see why it
Rolly's
because
done it.
The Android isn't smart enough to know, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's not smart enough to know that the sound interface isn't a radio. It's just going to go out your sound interface.
Someone mounted their so Alan's talking about mounting their DigiRig in the 891. I know someone who did that in the older what is it, the 897? The 897, the big radio.
They opened it up and mounted it inside?
Well, yeah, no, so the 897 has a like a battery compartment in it. So he just put it in there and then just ran a cable out for the USB-C.
Okay, yep.
897, not 891.
I thought you meant 857.
No, 897, the big version.
9.
Sorry, 9.
Okay, so it's Dogboy AA1. Got it.
Yeah.
Niner. Right, Jody? The international way to say 9.
Instead of AIOC, connect DigiRig to any HT. Yeah.
Gotta have the cable.
I didn't get any cables with this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was for an Anytone, the 10 meter radio that I did ages ago, because I wanted to plug that into another antenna for try and do FT8, but I don't have another HF antenna. I've only got one.
Aaron, KQ4HZ Kilo, Hotel Zulu Kilo. Yes, you can turn it into an iGate. You have to run a piece of software called Direwolf, and with the latest version of the Innovato Quadra software, it probably has Direwolf already installed. You just need to configure it.
So Jody says, Jody's trying to get us back on track. This is what happens in the nonsense streams, is we just completely go off track. So are we any closer to picking a radio? No.
No. And W4TRI, I'm mad at you. You should have looked at my video on FT8CN, not Peter's.
No, he can go and watch yours now.
Yeah.
Have you got a link for us, or do I have to go searching?
I can go search for it. I got this.
You go and find a link to your video, and we'll put that in. So any closer to pick a radio? Not particularly. I guess it just it comes down to, I don't want to say it depends. It comes down to your preferences. So one person's preference is going to be different to another person's preference.
There's a
for your first radio, we can still say that a 7300 is good, right?
No, you can't.
that was very
outdated.
Too outdated for your first radio.
What about if you get a cheap one today in 2024? Your first radio is either budget-minded G90 or the FT710, is my opinion.
Well, poor Marshall's looking for a 7300. What about if you find one cheap, used? When you start going down? So we're talking about new radios, but when you go down the rabbit hole to used radios, that's when everything goes. What we've just said for the past 55 minutes goes out the window, right? Because yeah.
For a used radio, it's whatever radio you can find and have fun with it. And Ted,
pretty much.
No, we weren't.
No. All right. So I guess we should have put a poll in, actually. Well, we can. We'll put a poll in for the last few minutes.
And then we can do the story about Jim again.
Oh, yes. We will do that.
Can you do FT8 on a Yaesu FT707? The answer is yes, but I'm not 100% sure. I haven't ever seen that radio before.
There we go. There's a poll.
Nice.
There is a poll coming in the YouTube chat. If you're not on YouTube, then you'll have to pop up on YouTube to vote for it. Is the 7300 the perfect beginner radio? So everyone put in the votes in the poll, and we'll definitively say yes or no.
Man, I want that FT707 now.
FT707.
Yeah.
707. Do you want to bring that up?
I'm trying to find a picture of the rear of the radio.
All right, I'll do it.
Oh. Wow.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
You mean that? Is that the perfect starter radio for somebody?
No, somebody in the chat was asking if you can do FT8 with it. So yes, set the FT707 for Vox, and then set your FT8 software for Vox, tune the frequency manually, and then you need a sound interface. And you can make one.
Which radio out of the box has the most buttons and knobs? Are you talking about new radio? Because I'd say if it's any sort of Kenwood whatsoever, it will have the most buttons and knobs.
Right.
I don't know about new radio. Probably so. You'd have to go. It's maybe the 101 or something. That's probably that's got a lot of buttons on it.
And Lee is talking about this one here. Where did it go? It moved. Lee, somebody talked after you and your thing moved. The FTDX10 for $10.59, and I think the 710 after rebate is $7.99 or $8.99. Like the price difference is so close. Just get the DX10.
Actually, this is a very interesting comment from Rob. Used 7300s are flooding the market right now, but the prices are too high in my opinion. So it wasn't that long ago that the 7300 was disrupting the used market. So everyone was selling their old radios to get a 7300, and now it seems like it might be going the other way. People are starting to sell their 7300s as they start to move on, because there's over 100,000 of them in the wild of these radios,
which is such a small number when you really think about it.
It is, but that's one model. When you think about it, though, one model. How many hams are in the world? I don't know.
Well, I mean, like, what's the sale
3 million,
price?
4 million?
Not the sale price. What's the sales stat for the iPhone 5 as an example?
Well,
that's why I'm saying it's sad. And the iPhone 5 was only made for 2 years, and there's been another 8 models made after it.
But look at the target audience. There's a lot more people that have phones and are Apple fans. There'd be more Apple, like dedicated Apple fans than ham radio operators in the world.
Yeah, that's telling, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, it is telling. But, we're trying one stream at a time to get there, aren't we? So
yes. We're doing our part.
Completed my foundation exam at Reist, which is my radio club here on Saturday, whilst on holiday from VK6. Congratulations on being part of such an active club. Very impressive. Thank you very much, Morgan. I wasn't able to be there on Saturday. I was actually planning to be there, but something else came up. So That's excellent, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your holiday if you're not already back. Thank you very much.
I personally want an HF radio this thick that fits in the pocket, and
full
I can play
SDR,
radio games on
100
it.
watts.
Full SDR, 100 watts. Play radio games
No,
from my
200
couch
watts.
while watching
200
TV.
watts.
Yeah, 300.
It does DC to daylight. You can receive digital television on it.
Right. And analog television. And SSTV.
And analog. It would be good. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Is if they did something like the IC 7000, but you could receive digital television. That was one disappointing thing with the IC 905 was it can only transmit analog television. It can't receive and transmit digital TV. I guess that comes back to your point too. We're in 2024. Why did you not make a radio with a digital? Anyway, yep. Never mind.
Especially for that price, yeah.
Especially
so John's asking, you have foundation and advanced, right?
Yeah, and standard, yes.
Foundation.
So we've got foundation is the entry level, standard is the mid tier, so sort of similar to general, and then advanced is the highest level. And then in the UK, it's foundation, intermediate, and what's the highest one? People in the UK probably not awake
I think
now.
yours is still advanced, isn't it?
I know it's intermediate, and what's the third one? I'm going to have to look this up because it's bad that I've forgotten. Full. Foundation, intermediate, full.
So while you're playing with your new StreamYard setup, Hayden, if you add this and you move it to position 1, and then you click the 4th button at the bottom, look at that.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So we're streaming in HD now, and we can also add in cameras and other things. We can also add ourselves in, which we're discussing in the past. There, we did that last week. That was that was pretty interesting. Okay, the perfect beginner radio. Can I get this on? Oh no, I can't. Can I?
That's what I was
bring this
say.
up.
Jacket is 7 radios at least. And people don't even know it. They just take it for granted.
So let me share my screen with the final results here. Which, there we go. Is the 7300 the perfect beginner radio? 59% say yes. 41% say no. Only 64 votes.
Oh.
146 people are watching. So
come on, we can't let Hayden be right.
Everyone vote no. Everyone vote no. I didn't say that. I didn't say it was the perfect beginner radio. I asked the question.
John is asking for some snazzy music. Hang on.
Snazzy music. You better not be getting my channel copyright striked with this.
No, these are the ones that are in StreamYard.
Oh, well, that's okay then.
Some lo-fi background music.
Is this while we wait for the no vote to get up to?
Come on, no,
to pass it.
No, vote no.
Music with the video effects like this. I don't think we're going to be able to beat the yes vote. If you're on Twitter, I can see that we've got 59 people on Twitter, on X. You should be getting on YouTube and voting. Head over to YouTube and vote. Vote no.
Same thing if you're on Facebook.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know how many people are watching on Facebook. It says 0 at the moment, but I think that's because Facebook doesn't track how many people are viewing.
Music to vote no by. The more I ask people to vote no, the more they're voting yes.
And now it's vote yes.
Music to vote yes by.
Yes music. Oh, Justin. He's got a legitimate question while we're messing around.
So there's actually a long answer to this. Let's kill the music and let's get serious for a second. So
yep.
What you do is you tune for the maximum amount of noise. You tune the antenna first for the maximum amount of noise you can hear. So you're actually going to hear it, start ramping up in background noise. And then you are very close. You're probably, 3-to-1, 5-to-1. And for brief moments in time, very brief, like be sensitive to like sticking your hand on the hot stove top moments in time, you can key up and see the SWR meter and then let go right away. And then you can know where you are and you can move a little bit. I've got a video on my channel doing that with a loop antenna. See if I can find it.
So, Justin, I would recommend, let me put this in the chat. I'd recommend, if I can, there we go. I'd recommend getting one of these if you can. Let me drop that screen share. If you want to save your finals and do some decent tuning, is buy one of these, a Nano VNA. And it looks pretty intimidating, but to do a simple SWR sweep on this is actually pretty easy. So this is the H4. Would you agree that this is probably the best way to go, Tio, to measure SWR easily and cheaply?
The Nano VNA H4, yes. Yes, I would.
Yep. There's plenty of videos on how to do this. I think, look at that. I've got a $12 coupon. I'm not sure if anyone else has got that. But, yes, if you get a Nano VNA, then you're good to go. Oh, okay, so I've just read a little bit further. By the way, thank you for the $10 super chat. I think this is a Grand Theft Auto song.
Frank, I just got it out of the box. I haven't made the video on it. I can't take it off until it's on video.
I have the Rig Expert stick, but sometimes I forget it. Oh, okay, fair enough. So you're talking about maybe tuning in the field then. So you'll probably forget the Nano VNA if you forget the Rig Expert.
Right. So what kind of antenna are you tuning is the other question, because I don't want you out there cutting wire. This is for tunable antennas like, screwdrivers or coils or, extendable whips.
Yep. So what if I don't have an antenna analyzer with me? You could do a quick tune. So you could, when I say quick tune, run the lowest power that you can with the radio to get your SWR, a rough indication of what's happening if you forgot your analyzer. What are you laughing at? I've got two TOs. I've got double TO.
Please add one more Hayden for balance. That's what I'm laughing at.
I don't know how.
We'll play with extra cameras.
Yeah, I don't have another camera plugged in. I can do so, though. Why are there two TOs and why doing two different things?
Just two different cameras.
It's too. Yeah, I don't have another camera ready to go. I could switch my phone on, but it's too hard. We can add no signal.
So I dropped a link for Justin in the chat. And it shows how to tune a tunable antenna with just the built-in SWR meter in the radio.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, don't be like cranking heaps amounts of power. Doing it. I don't know how much the Lab 599 puts out, but
it's a QRP radio, so 5.
Yeah.
And I haven't turned mine on yet, but I don't know if it's got a SWR sweep function like the 705 does.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure if he's using it inside or not. So, I'm slowly catching up to the chat.
Bob's got a question
in Justin,
there for us.
I hope that helps. That helps.
Yeah, questions are always welcome. Bob's got one for us. If I run my coax through my attic, will the extreme temperatures degrade or affect the coax? The short answer is yes. The longer answer is do it anyway if it's the only way to get yourself on the air. Coax is cheaper than, not being on the air.
Yeah, you're not gonna burn through your coax. There might be some sort of small changes, but it depends on how hot your attic gets. But just remember that your attic's also probably got power cables running through it and all sorts of things which it's not going to physically melt your cable. But Messi and Poloni have a specific cable for heat as well. They've got the
Thanks,
white Poda. Is it Poda cable? What's the Podaflex? No, that's the yellow stuff, not the Podaflex. It's the white one. The FT8. That's it. The FT8 high power, and that's in a white sheath, and they have that to reduce the amount of. That's mainly for when it's outside in the sun and getting direct solar retention heat on the cable.
So is direct sunlight hotter on your coax than attic temperatures? Is another good question.
It's probably not. I would say your attic's not going to get as hot as a direct sunlight on it. Ambient temperature compared to,
Right.
direct. Especially as most coaxes got a black outer sheath, that's going to warm up a lot more than it sitting in a dark attic that's not got direct sunlight.
And don't you have a discount code for Messi and Poloni?
Yes, below in the chat. Below in the description. So you can go to M&P. Rolly says, on the contrary, crank a kilowatt or more and burn it into resonance. We don't have a kilowatt, Rolly. I can't run a kilowatt unless it's into a load, into a dummy load. I can't radiate a kilowatt.
Don't ask, don't tell.
So, Jody, remember those pictures Josh showed from Gordo and Ham Nation showing coax center wire migration under high heat? Heat comes from RF current, also comes from being in a hot place. It all depends, I suppose, though, on what coax you're using, because if you do have your coax bent at a extreme bend radius and you pump lots of power through it or it gets hot, then yes, the coax center can migrate in. It also depends on the other coax that you what is it? Foam coax, I think, is the worst with a center conductor. But if you have stranded with cable, it's less likely, and thicker cable and all that sort of thing. Lee's right. Use outdoor rated coax in the attic. In South US, the attic is way hotter than outside. No UV day after day in the attic.
True.
My attic way hotter than outdoors in the sun. It's there. Yeah, I was talking about ambient temperature. So your ambient temperature that's up in your attic is going to be higher than being outside because it's enclosed. But like if you I don't know, do you have tin? You've got tin roofs over there. If you stand or touch a tin roof after it's been in the sun, you're going to burn your hand. So you're not going to get that kind of level inside. 1 kilowatt is the try. We know, yes, Rolly, we're backwards here in Australia. We don't have a 1 kilowatt. I wish we did. The Coaxy show was probably Ben Radius, but it was 90. Yeah, this is one of the things that I get some comments on about toroids and ferrites for common mode current when they're placed, when you're wrapping the coax through the toroid, like what's the bend radius of it? But if you're not doing it constantly and you're only doing it once, then the migration's probably going to be less. Jim, direct radiant sunlight is a lot hotter than you imagine. Oh, we got... yeah, oops, wrong one. I was just seeing what... you just switched.
The camera was on follow me mode and followed me around the room.
It followed you out of the room. Michael says he's used standard RG8X in my attic for 2 years and or more, 0 issues. So, cool. Actually, that's good. Jim is back in the chat, which means that we can finally reveal. Actually, it's good now that I've upgraded to StreamYard, because it seems to be that every time we go to tell everyone what's happening with Jim and what he did, like 2 years ago when I was there.
Actually, make it work? Is it going to stay?
The HT, it's HD is just one of the benefits, but we're getting these dropouts all the time in the stream towards the end, and it just seems to be, it's going to happen, mate. It's going to happen. So back in,
it's revealed.
When was I at Hamvention?
It was
2023.
it was it was all deuce deuce.
Yeah. So